Kia ora, and welcome to Tuesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news. All eyes are now turning to the US Fed and the results of their meeting about to start. But first up in the US, the widely watched ISM Services PMI for April came in better than expected with a modest expansion, off a 9-month low in March. New orders drove the result, as did higher inventories. Employment contracted again, and activity was little changed but still expanding. However, price pressures jumped to their highest since February 2023. This contrasts with the globally benchmarked S&P Global Market version, which has reported its slowest growth for 17 months amid subdued demand and a slump in business confidence and rising costs. Financial markets are preferring to look at the ISM one, however. All eyes now turn to Thursday's US Federal Reserve Board meeting, where most observers think they will hold policy unchanged to see how the price impact of tariffs works out. And there was a well-supported US Treasury 3-year bond auction this morning, and that delivered a median yield of 3.77%, up slightly from 3.70% at the prior equivalent event a month ago. In Washington, there are still no tariff deals. There are negotiations, but it seems no one is rolling over in the way the US administration assumed. And as you'll probably already know, Warren Buffett has announced his retirement as CEO at the end of this year, when he'll be aged 95. But he will remain chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. In Canada, things aren't good, with their service sector suffering a steep contraction of activity in April. And recession fears there are putting a real downer on their real estate markets. Across the Pacific, China is still on holiday, but Singapore's April retail sales were in, and they weakened from March, down a sharpish 2.8%, to leave them up just 1.1% from the same month a year ago. Car sales were a significant factor in the month-on-month drop, but not all of it. And the results of the weekend's Singaporean general election are in, and there was no surprise that they had engineered a dominant win for their ruling PAP party, enough to retain their 2/3 and more majority. They won 87 of the 98 seats contested, with a 67% of the vote. Their courts ensured the opposition could only run weak candidates. They have a democracy in name only. And post-election in Australia, the ASX 200 fell 1%, and their benchmark 10-year bond rose 10 basis points from pre-election levels. Investors think they are facing at least 6 more years of a Labor-led government, 3 at least with a majority Labor government. The key trends in the Aussie election were a stark gender divide, with women overwhelmingly repelled by the Liberals. Immigrant votes, including Chinese votes, increasingly were attracted to Labor, and the rise of teal candidates who are social liberals and economic conservatives. The opposition Liberal Party are likely to compound their mistakes by selecting 2 older socially conservative men to their new top leadership. The other notable trend from the Aussie election was the near wipeout of the Greens. Even their leader is having trouble holding his seat. Global food prices rose in April, but are only back to the same level they were in 2023 and well below March 2022 levels. But the rise was largely down to rises for meat, up 4.3% from a year ago, and especially dairy, up 23% on the same basis. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.34%, unchanged from this time yesterday. And oil prices are weaker again, down $1 at just on $57 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is now just under $60 a barrel. They are still 4-year lows, hurt by the combination of easing global demand along with rising output. And the Kiwi dollar is now at 59.6 US cents, down 20 basis points from yesterday at this time. Against the Aussie, we're down 20 basis points at 92.3 Australian cents. Against the euro, with little change to 52.3 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just under 67.9 and up 10 basis points. And the Bitcoin price starts today down 1% from yesterday at $94,803. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been modest at plus or minus 1.1%. You can find links to the articles mentioned today in our show notes, and you can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.